Hello and welcome to the premiere episode of, we haven't come up with a name for it yet, a podcast produced by the John Cotton Dana Library at Rutgers University, Newark. I'm your host, Mark Papianni. I'll be talking with my colleagues and friends here at Dana Library to get a little more insight into their lives in and outside of Rutgers. We'll have an open conversation, but no vintage cars or houseplants between us. Beverages depend on the time of day we choose to get together to talk, and there's always a chance for insightful information and who knows, maybe a few laughs. But don't hold me to that.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just get started here. So when were you first made aware that this whole COVID thing was going to become a major part of not only the university's history, but basically the country and the world's history?
Well, it crept up on me slowly. I'd been following the news. I'm a bit of a news junkie.
Mm-hmm.
A bit of a news junkie. So I watch CNN all the time. And I listen to NPR in the morning.
Yeah.
So there was, how do I describe it? There was a bit of a vague awareness in, sort of early February, that this was happening. It still felt remote, and overseas, likely in China. I remember seeing initial shots of Wuhan, that wet market in Wuhan, which was really, just extraordinary. And I guess I was a smidge ahead of the curve with respect to the general public, because I have Clements to run.
Sure.
And I guess it was whenever the university formally shut down, maybe a week or so, a couple of days before. Over the weekend, I reached out to members of the chancellor's team. I didn't reach out to the chancellor herself. I reached out to the EVPs first, and probably. I don't remember now. There's a number of folks to go to for depending on certain things, the way their responsibilities are divided up. But it's a very cohesive team. They work very well together. And so I could reach out to one or two folks and just get an opinion or two, or reach out to this person. I believe I reached out to Amber and Sherry Ann and Peter Englert, I believe. Or maybe it was just Sherry Ann and Peter. In any case, I reached out to them and I sent an email saying, hey, I've been following this thing, and I just wonder if I should suspend concert, performances in Clements for 2 weeks or so, because, our audience, we have a wonderful mix, but probably a full third of our audience, by my guess, is over 65. And what makes it challenging is that, the remainder, say, are under 65, under 50, and maybe 10 or 15% are students. So you got a whole range of adults, between 25 and 50, and then you've got students too, but then a full 30% who are, over 65. And it's it's cramped quarters, so it's a very small, intimate jazz club. And I just thought, I wonder if I should do this. I should be thinking about this. And they got back to me immediately. Yeah, think about it. And I was going to draft an email saying so. And I think the word I got was, hang on, go ahead and draft it. Put some, put things in place in your mind, or whatever sort of behind the scenes thinking or conversations you need to have. But the President Barchi is going to have an announcement very soon. And by the time I had drafted the thing, I think, I don't know if it was a couple of hours or later that day. And again, I don't remember Monday or Tuesday of the week before spring break, President Barchi had made the initial announcement about it, and it evolved. Things evolved very quickly. So I used some of of course, I followed that language and mentioned the university guidelines and shut things down. Even at that point, Mark, I didn't think it was going to be months and months. I was still thinking a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's what.
So then we went into spring break, and that's when things just completely accelerated.
Yeah, I mean, I never expected this either. I mean, it really, really took off. I mean, and like you said, it almost seemed like almost hour to hour things were changing. You get another email, and they say, well, things are going to be closing down here. I mean, we're just going to be with half staff right now. But yeah, it's already into our 12th week, I think, which
Is it 12 weeks?
yeah, so far I think March 20th was the actual shutdown. So, but you seem to be the kind of guy. I mean, your position, you're on virtual meetings all the time and endless emails and so forth. So it wouldn't seem to be that you had to adapt. Rather, you had a difficulty adapting to working from a remote location. Right now, you're in California, I understand, right? So,
Yeah, I mean, I'm in California now, and again, you were talking about, you just mentioned things happening fast. I mean, a quick example is, um, so it's beginning of March. I was supposed to go to California. Trinija came out. I want to say March 7th. We were together on the 6th or 7th. We went to a play, and then she came out here. I was supposed to come out the next 2 weekends in a row. I was going to come out for a friend's birthday party, a classmate from college, 60th birthday party. And somewhere around Tuesday or Wednesday of that week, it finally got canceled. They were doing a big restaurant in San Francisco. They know the owners. The owner was doing this. The place was just going to be for her wedding party.
mm-hmm.
I guess there were 20 or 30 of us or so. So they finally decided to shut down. I was like, oh, okay, because the Bay Area was a real hotspot. And so the question was, oh, do I need to come out? It's like, well, next week is spring break, and I could move my flight up as opposed to coming out for the weekend. I could come out and spend 10 days, so
Yeah.
why don't I spend this weekend getting things together? And then I'll come out Wednesday or Thursday. And as you're rightly saying, Mark, just in those next successive days, we went from, okay, I'll just come out next weekend and stay 2 weeks to, oh, wait, I shouldn't fly.
No.
And it's going to be 3 months before I see you again.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
came out last week, and that's literally what happened. Now, and with respect to adjusting to working from, you're right. I mean, I was able to, and I think a lot of us. I mean, I think the library staff have done just wonderful work adjusting, and Consuela figuring out things, alternate ways to do how to provide services.
Mm-hmm.
How to be this resource for the university that's a little unique, in terms of it being sort of the public gathering space, for research, references, for people just who come and make use of the computer terminals. Well, for myself, with the jazz club suspended, now I'm really able to do a lot of virtual things, and so it was not, in that sense, it was, practically speaking, it wasn't a rough transition for me. I've been asked to do a couple of different sort of virtual listening sessions and conversations, tunes on Tuesdays, sponsored by NJ Pack.
How is it
Um,
working out for you? Tunes on Tuesday.
they've been great. The feedback has been wonderful. It's been a little bit difficult just because they do it on Instagram Live, which, I don't know that it's the greatest platform. You
Mm-hmm.
can only do two people at once, and they have three of us who are, I'm making air quotes here, hosts, so I have a conversation with one person, then they sign off, and then I sign the next person on,
Oh.
and then I'm doing one for the public library. That's about monthly. That's called We Got Jazz. That'll happen this week, and there's a real sort of focus on jazz and hip hop, with different themes. This week will be socially conscious music. That's been pretty seamless, man. Using having a virtual conversation and listening and reaching folks. So honestly, I know there are a lot of folks it's been very difficult. A lot of folks who have hands-on, who either colleagues of mine in the ACM department, from an art standpoint, musicians who teach. It can be very difficult for folks. It has not been so for me. It's been okay. I realize, the last thing I'll say on it is, I'm saying that in the context of the first time we did a virtual happy hour for library staff, and I saw everyone. I realized how much I missed human interaction.
Oh gosh, yes.
You know what I mean? So yeah.
You know, I mean,
What about for you? Well, how's it been for you?
it hasn't been bad. I have the family home here. My wife, you know, takes over the computer, so I usually jump on it later in the evening. I mean, we have other means of communicating and so forth, but and my daughters are still here too. They finished up their freshman year, all online. So, but you're right. It's I miss that human interaction. Although my office basically is right next to yours when you think about it,
Yeah,
in terms of
yeah.
our location in the library. I'm kind of isolated where I am, so I like getting up out of my chair and walking around and interacting with people. And I've been missing that so much. And I didn't realize how much I missed it until I was able to see a couple of friends just the other day. It was her mother's 100th birthday, so we all did a drive by
Oh,
for,
wow.
for her
Wow.
birthday, and how good it felt just to see these people, up close and live, rather than, on a flat screen, which we're doing right now.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, it's always
Well, I think a lot of people have figured out ways to take advantage of it. Take, take advantage of it may not be the right phrase, but to use it. My family we do a weekly call on Sunday,
yeah.
Zoom, and that's been great. It's been a real unexpected gift in a way.
Mhm. I do the same thing with my wife's family. We do that on Monday, and with my family, which is a little bit more harried and a little bit more frantic, I would say, because there's so many of us. Nobody knows when to stop talking.
Right,
And
right, right.
so, but
Yeah, we got the same thing, a big loud family. That honestly has been a real treat. Shrinija's family, her mom and she's one of three. And as I say, her mom lives about 4 or 5 blocks away from her. Her sister lives another block over. They do a family dinner by FaceTime, and her mom just turned 80. So they
Mhm.
haven't really had any physical contact with her in months, and that's tough. That's
Yeah.
tough. But they'll go by the house and stand out in the yard and talk. And every evening they do a virtual dinner at 7.
Oh, that's nice.
Sometimes Srinija and I drop in, but we have the option of dropping in or not. So I don't know that she would say this, but I know my family calls have been a real unexpected gift,
Yeah.
that you wouldn't, I didn't plan, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I didn't either, and I really look forward to them, now
Yeah.
on a weekly basis. Well, I know you're not doing any homeschooling or anything like that, but you've got classes coming up again in September, right?
I've got a pretty heavy teaching load coming up in September, and it's really gonna occupy my summer.
Mhm.
It's likely I'm gonna have 4 courses to teach this fall. I've definitely got 3, and I'm probably going to need to cover a 4th course. And the 4th one will be a little more in the pocket, and something I can do. I think you know pretty easily. The other 3, I'm going to need to really prep over the summer, and because they're remote, I've got to work a lot of things out ahead
Mhm.
of time. I'm going to do some things pre-recorded. I'm going to have some guest musicians perform. So my goal is to really have everything laid out the entire semester for all 3 or 4 classes before the summer's over. Have some things that I know I've already pre-recorded. I may not hit that mark, but that's my real goal. And that's in addition to we got several. I got to find a way to fund our programmatic activities of
Mhm.
IJS. I've got. I'm anticipating. I would love to be wrong, but I'm doing scenario building where we have no program funds for Clements or some of the other things that we've done at IJS, whether it's conferences or panel discussions or roundtables, concerts in Clements. So I got to get a couple of grant proposals out. I've got one out already. Other IJS staff just finished one. So it's what I said to folks is I go out, so on the rare occasions I've gone outside, there is clearly a pause, right? Things are different. But when I'm at home sitting at my desk, I'm actually really busy, and I'm behind on emails. I got calls to return.
Sure, sure.
Um, which is it's a weird juxtaposition. When outside the pace is very slow. I don't have the regular rhythm of a workday, but I'm behind on things. Oh, I got 10 calls to return today. Oh, I got to finish this thing. I got to edit this. I got to read this.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's an interesting phenomenon.
So you're not finding any free time for yourself at all, are you?
No, 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 I do. Well, listen, when we first started, again, when I did not have a good sense of, okay, you know what, I need to plan for this. This is going to take a couple of months.
Yeah.
I had a real timeless kind of feeling, man. I lost track of days, lost track of. I would stay up all night,
Yep.
you know. You know what I mean?
I know
I
exactly.
binge watch. I love binge watching stuff. It's like, well, I'm gonna work all day tomorrow. Who cares what time it starts? I'll just watch this thing. And I'd forget what day it was.
Mhm.
I'd finally go to sleep after watching the last episode of Ozarks at 8:30 a.m. Um, and I've gotten away from that. I'm on a much more regular work schedule now, so I do find I have time for myself.
Well, that's good. That's good.
And as much of a talker as I am, as you know, and experienced through this podcast too, I really enjoy my solitude. I actually love there. Aside from the stress of knowing that people are really, really suffering and hurting because of the pandemic, and more recently because of this incredible racial reckoning we're undergoing in this country, and with its accompanying uncertainty. Aside from that sort of heavy, heavy, heavy thing, there have been some points of this pandemic that have been beneficial to me. It really is giving me time to reflect and to consider, even grapple with it. Like I go shopping, it's like, what do I really need? I don't need 16 rolls of toilet paper. Somebody else can use that. I'm here by myself. Well, let me just get two. I'll be cool with two for X amount of time. Do you know what I mean? Somebody else can use that,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So there's that, and I have found that also beneficial and a bit of a surprise to myself, trying to cook more. I don't cook though.
You don't cook?
I mean, I know how to cook, but cooking is like a whole experience. So,
I
and
get
I like,
same thing with me when it comes to cooking. I really need everything placed out in front of me. I need a recipe right there to tell me what to do. And if
yeah.
you don't have all the ingredients, well, then that meal does not get cooked.
Right. Literally, for I think the first time in my life, I made something the other day, and I really whipped it up very quickly because like it becomes like a whole thing. You know what I mean? And I'm hungry. I just want to eat. Like
Yeah,
just
I don't care what it is.
there's the whole cooking thing, and then I got to sit down and do the whole eating thing. I just want to eat. I just want to eat and binge watch. This craziness of Tiger. What was it? Tiger something. The
Uh,
Tiger.
Tiger King, Tiger.
Tiger King. Tiger
Oh,
King.
yeah, we brought that up. I think about 2 months ago, and I don't know if I got 5 minutes into it. And I said, I don't know if I have time to spend on this particular
Yeah.
show.
Isn't that funny? Now at the time, everybody was watching it. Now it's like, man, I'll never get these hours back. I don't
Exactly.
know how to do this.
Really, really. I got to be very, very particular about what I watch because my daughters are commandeering the television right now. I mean, yeah, there's another television in the house, but I like that particular one. Um, but I really don't like watching YouTube videos of other people putting on makeup and it's basically what they're watching. I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Oh,
So
wait, so they're watching YouTube on the television.
yeah, that's the
Yeah,
YouTube channel.
that's the future, man. It's the future. We're old, dude.
No,
Yeah.
well, yeah. I don't like using that word, but so as far as food, then you're doing a lot of takeout, or you're doing a lot of you
Well, I not at first. I've just done takeout recently, and honestly, it's mostly just to break it up, and also to support the local vendors. The Thai place around the corner has been open for a long time. There are a couple of places in and around Newark. I try to support, but no, I've been fully stocked.
Mhm.
And put things together, whip some stuff up. I've always done. Yeah, even without this circumstance, I like to keep good wine around
Of course you do.
and the makings for an adult beverage or three.
Hmm.
So I've been fully stocked there. So it hasn't, honestly, man. Aside from, I mean, there is a price to pay being by yourself, but I've been like, I feel very, very fortunate. I feel very fortunate. I know musicians that we've lost and folks that I was close to, and I know people who are struggling work-wise. And if you look across the arts world, if you look just across the park over at John Schreiber over at
Hmm.
NJ Pack,
Sure.
man, I don't know what they're going to do. We are going to lose some arts venues. There's some small ones, almost certainly. But even some of the large ones, like no one has a business model based on 40% or 30% capacity.
No, no.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. I'm feeling it myself.
Yeah, yeah. Individual musician like you guys were always booked, right? So everything just dried up, of course, right?
Everything just dried up. So I don't know what we're gonna do, and it's nothing like playing live, playing to an audience. That kind of dynamic, and we're dying right now. We're really hurting for it.
Have you heard from any venue that is slowly reopening? Are they talking about having folks in
Uh,
people audience?
the only places are the ones that have the accessibility to outside eating an outside eating
Mm,
area. a lot of places that we play are really small places. They depend on just their insides, the interior. Other places that are going to start opening up their parking lots a little bit and allowing people to gather out there, possibly putting a small stage or something like that out there. But it's just too rough. It's too rough.
I have recently been this flight out here said really has me saying to folks. I mentioned to you before we started recording. I think that the airports are just completely empty. There are more
Mhm.
maintenance folks than people traveling. But just moving around, around a bit, I'm convinced that we could do a reopening if everyone was just really smart and followed, wear a mask,
Mhm.
try to, be thoughtful, mostly keep away from people. You don't have to like be crazy about it, be mindful of if
Right.
you're talking, but people aren't going to do it, Mark. I mean, so many people are just going to be stupid, man.
Yep.
And
And that's we just got to avoid those stupid people.
but you know what? It changes it. It ruins it. It changes it for everyone because there's a bunch of them. It'd be one thing if they were just a small percentage and sort of isolated,
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I mean, if they want to go live in their part of the country or their part of the state, you know, but then we're getting into another can of worms, and
yeah,
I don't like to do
right.
that. So you are practicing social distancing, between the lines of
Oh,
this.
all of that
Yeah.
stuff. Absolutely. I've been since I got here. I've been semi-quarantined. I mean, we haven't really. I play golf. I'm very fortunate. I'm addicted to golf, and golf is a very good sport for social distancing.
Yeah. Yeah.
The course is you only take if you're riding, it's just one person to a cart.
Hmm.
And you keep away. And if you do, you keep your mask on. There's certain things you don't do. You don't. Everybody's not touching the same thing. So there are things that you don't normally have. I don't know if you ever watch golf when they pull the flag out for
Sure.
you to
Sure.
putt. You don't do that. They just leave it in now.
Hmm.
You don't have to stick your hand all the way down into the cup to retrieve your ball. It's kind of they got a thing where it just sits up high, so you're not. You know, I know it sounds funny, but clearly, if nothing else, wearing a mask work. I mean, it's no question they got data from all over the world.
Yes.
Cities.
Yes.
If
Yes.
we just do that,
Hmm.
so yeah, I'm doing all the social distancing.
What's your mask
Uh,
of choice? Are you going for the healthy ones, the medical ones, or the fashion ones, or you just take it?
I gotta tell you, I love all the cool fashion ones. There's some people who've had some funny ones. I've got a plan because it got warm. When it was cooler, I have one that I got through the mail that's denim and it's really heavy and it's good. It's too hot for that now. So I just wear the regular out of the box paper mask.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I know that's not cool. I know. I was thinking about getting some Institute of Jazz Studies ones,
My
without
sister
logo.
was my sister was doing some custom made masks. You know,
Oh, is that right?
custom cloth, custom fabrics,
Does
different
she
designs.
does she silk screen them
No,
or
no,
does
no,
she?
no. She just buys the actual material, the actual
Oh, that's cool.
whatever it is, and then just makes them. She does a nice job on them. So I'll discuss those with you later.
Yeah, yeah. Let me get to go to her website.
I don't want to get too heavy into this kind of stuff, but you did touch upon all the racial tension that's going on and the protests and so forth. It's been 2 or 3 weeks out now, I think, that the protests are going on. What do you have? Any kind of insight into that, or? Mm.
I don't know that I'd call it insight. My observation is that I mean it's absolutely incredible. I find myself very hopeful, actually.
It's about time, though, isn't it? I mean, that we've
Abs-
w- w- all these other incidences, all these other um, occurrences between police, between black men, between uh, you would think that it shouldn't have taken this long.
it shouldn't have. It shouldn't have.
It
And
should.
it's been, I mean, this is stuff we've known about, or a lot of us have known about and talked about. But, and so that's absolutely true, but honestly, I always talk about being in the bitter old man. I've been very involved in politics and active community stuff, man. I am actually very hopeful, and I find myself very surprisingly uh, encouraged. Things have happened so quick. I think it is now like 21 days since George Floyd.
Yes.
The world has changed, man. The
Hmm.
world has completely changed for better, by the way.
Exactly.
For much better. The kids out there, look, the civil rights movement absolutely led by the black community, but there were always allies involved. The Latino community, certainly white community, certainly key figures, Southern white figures who were great supporters and activists involved in the civil rights and Black Power movement. But this is truly a multiracial response, man. These young people are really pushing all of us to be better and to think outside of the box. And they're doing it, man. I look, I like to think of myself as being up on things. I really had not followed or paid attention to. I don't think I'd even read about quote unquote defunding the police, right?
Hmm.
And my reaction was like, wow. I mean, well, wait. I would say to myself, well, what do you do if somebody, if there's like your neighbors are fighting? What do you do?
Yeah.
Well, it's a domestic quarrel. You get counselors over there.
Right.
Well, wait a minute. What do you do if somebody got killed? You get detectives to investigate.
Hmm.
Well, what do you do? And once you really understand what folks have been talking, people who've been working on this and studying this, there may still be some core number of men and women who are armed, but they won't be the first person called for every little thing. Some
Right.
kids are fighting at school. Well, you get some folks in there who are used to working with kids.
Really?
But what about gangs? You get men and women who've been doing gang work forever, who have trust, like they go in and negotiate stuff, they work it out. It is very, to me, man, it's a very profound change in the way we think about how we govern and relate to one another. Um, and this is the killer thing. Folks have done it. Camden defunded their police force, what, 10 years ago or something like that?
I think so. Yeah.
The crime's down like 60%. Complaints about the police down 95%.
Yeah.
And they still have a core. They call them, what are they, county safety or something like that. There's still some
Mhm.
guys walking around with guns. All the young men that in our current world be thrown up against the wall all know these guys. They all know these guys walking around. They interact with folks that it's I find that incredibly empowering. And there's going to be something related to this in the Democratic National Party platform.
Yeah.
That's a positive change. I suspect the moderate Republicans will get it done on their side too. Let's hope. But in any case, what I'm saying is that this is, Shanija always says that uncertainty is very difficult and challenging and unsettling for people, but uncertainty is also possibility. And I think what we're seeing with a lot of this and a lot of these conversations are a lot of good people stepping up, trying to explore possibility. And the reason I think they're able to do it so quickly, Mark, is to your point, they've been hungry for it.
Yeah.
People have wanted it. A lot of people who are not African American have been looking in on this and knowing this was wrong and seeing it was wrong and not knowing exactly what to do or how to respond. And now there are pathways being created for all of us to have a response. And I have to say, man, I'm encouraged by it.
Good. Good. Well, you basically answered my next question, which out of all of this, between the pandemic, between the racial tensions, and so forth, what's the one positive thing you think we can bring from it? And
Well, well, here I got another one for you because here's the thing, man. We could totally get into you could turn me into Debbie Downer, man. Because look, we're part of you and I. We're part of a university, a public university. We don't know what's going to happen, man.
yeah,
But you know what? In all of this, Mark, I think it's an opportunity for us people, for us to figure out how to do some things differently, collectively, to figure our way out of this. To figure out what we really need versus what we want, and how's that going to affect my neighbor.
right.
If I buy these 20, I'm a single man living in downtown Newark. If I buy these 40 rolls of toilet paper, right? Like, who's not going to be able to get that? It just maybe we're a little more thoughtful with one another, and we got to figure this mess out together because we got a tough road to hoe, man. As we used to say down south, this thing is not over, I am hopeful and I'm encouraged. I really am, and I think we all can be.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
All right, well, Wayne, let me just say thank you so much for taking the short time with us, and I hope you are enjoying your time out there in California. And I was, quite honestly, I was a little concerned about how this was going to go, and I said, "Are you kidding? Wayne knows how to talk. Wayne will just take it and run with it." And you did exactly that, and you made my job that much more easier. So I appreciate that, Wayne. Thank you very much. Okay.
I appreciate the compliment, and you were right to be worried. And please edit this so I sound coherent. And if you want to make my voice deeper, that's great.
I think it's gonna go out just the way it is. Okay.
Unfortunately. Yeah. No, Mark, I think it's a fun, great thing. I'm looking forward to this series that you're doing, man. And thanks for all that you're doing, in what are difficult times too for all of us.
Yep. Yep. And we'll be back at Clements hopefully very, very soon. I appreciate.
Hopefully, man. I'm working on that.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Wayne, take care of yourself. All right. Stay.
Thanks, Mark. You too. My best to your family.
Best to yours too. Okay. Thanks a lot. Bye bye. And that's our show this week. Tune in next week. This is Mark Papianni. Join us again for another episode of. We haven't come up with a name yet.